Here is something that I'd written down. And from the Kliq This podcast, this is Kevin Nash's podcast, he said when pressed on if the group had used their influence to ruin anybody's career, Kevin Nash said, I think that maybe Scott got pissed off at Shane Douglas. And that was it. That's the only one, that's the only career that they'd admitted to having a hand in maybe not helping as much as they could do. Does that ring true to you, or what's the list of people you think?
Well, yeah, I think it was far more than me. I know at one point Dustin to an extent, and I guess if you like quantify it out, you can say, well, Dustin became Gold Dust and had a great career with that. There were several people back at that time. Let me say this about Kevin. Kevin and I have always gotten along very well, even during the time of the Kliq. And since, I just saw him the other day at the Square Circle Expo in Indianapolis, and didn't get a chance to talk to him. I was, trying to get, around to say hello to the guys and get back to our table. But looks great. I didn't get a chance to talk to him about his son. I really don't want to bring that up, because that's a several-minute conversation. Look, my heart goes out to the guy. I can't even begin, being a father, imagining what a horrible hell that must be. But he and I have always been good, even like during that time. And after, he would say to me, like, hey, we're good, Art, because in fact, I think Ricky and I had worked with him and somebody before that when he was doing the Vinny Vegas thing and the other gimmicks down there. And, we always talked about basketball and, all that kind of stuff. But he had come to me at one point, and said, I asked him, hey, how's Scott doing? And he said, I don't know. He said, it just got to the point where he couldn't do it anymore, he said. But I'd heard he had said some complimentary things in his podcast. And it didn't surprise me because, Kevin, I think unbeaten all that is a good guy. When you put yourself into that, and again, that Kliq stuff is a million gazillion miles away to me, behind me. And I've been able to forge out a pretty good career and legacy in the industry, and I'm proud of that, having never been at a WrestleMania. In the WWF, WWE, it is a different universe. I always joke about it, like Vince, apparently the physics fall up there. But it changes people. I think if you're going to go there and be successful there, and I've seen it without mentioning names with more than one or two people that I knew intimately well prior. And I think that you just have to get into that mindset. I don't know if it's an overt thing or a covert thing, but clearly it changes the people that go there. But, it's, I think it's to anybody that's a fan of the business that follows the business. I think it's pretty obvious that the Kliq had lured over there, including all the way up to the point of them leaving and they're doing the Madison Square Garden thing. That was them flexing their muscles, that there's nothing Vince can do to stop them. I mean, he could have, but they knew he wouldn't. And, it's a bad chapter of wrestling history, because I think, if promotion A, whatever that promotion be, takes time to hire James, and they're obviously bringing you in for some acumen that you have. They're not going, well, I don't know who this guy is. And, he's okay in the ring, and we'll just bring him in. They don't do that. They bring you in for a specific reason. And I think in '95, when you look and see what I've been doing in ECW, I think it's arguable that I was probably the hottest heel in the industry at that time.
There's a list out there, I'm sure, that people can look at, from Bob Holly to, as you mentioned, Dustin Rhodes. But I think it's quite well known out there that Bam Bam may have been one of the victims of the Kliq. Do you know what that was about and what they did?
I don't know what they did to him. I'm guessing the same type of thing. But it was sort of like the wolf pack mentality, right? They would come around and they all had Vince's ear. So, and this is being as kind as I can be to Vince, giving him the best potential reason that this happened. I still believe it, part of me, that it was a design plan, at least for me. Excuse me. But when you have that wolf pack mentality, and you're all nipping at the back legs, and Hunter tells me this last week of me being Vince, and Sean's telling me this today, and tomorrow somebody's telling me something else, and it's just this constant nipping. The thing is, Vince is raised in this business, right? He's certainly aware of the works that go on, the political works. And, you'd have to be asking yourself, if he hired Shane Douglas, the franchise character, there was obviously something. And again, this is taking the flip side that he had the best intentions. If you hired the franchise, the first thing you do is cut the knees off the franchise, right? You'll not let him do what he does best. And then you have this, oh, by the way, you guys are also in contention for these titles and don't like other people. Clearly, you don't like other people like Dustin and Bob Holly and all and around that belt. He had to know what was going on. Clearly had to see right through that because Vince, if nothing else, knows the business. The thing about getting to Kevin for a second, my experience around him was like, I've told the story a million times, but about what happened in Montreal with Carl Ouellet. Kevin that night, to be fair, was telling Sean, no, that's not what Vince wants. And that, if I beat him clean, it's not going to work. He was, pushing back. But ultimately, from the outsider looking in, it looked like ultimately Kevin was like a follower, following those guys. Would later rear his head as one of the leaders, the NWO and in the Kliq. But at that time, he was very much under the thumb of impressionable by Sean for sure, whose work he looked up to. And, the things that I saw, these are the things that I can't get inside somebody's head in the reasoning or the thought process, but just the back and forth that I saw and how he finally acquiesced to Sean when Sean kept pressing that, told me that he was like sort of like following, not leading, and later would become more the leader. Mm-hmm.